Thanks for staying with us. Police Minister Bheki Cele is set to visit the family of an officer who was killed on duty in Delft at the weekend. 2 other officers were wounded in that attack. That was despite the SANDF's deployment across the gang-ridden areas of Cape Town. Our reporter Aisha Ismail is with the minister. Aisha, has the minister spoken?
Well, the minister hasn't arrived yet. We heard from his spokesperson saying that they've just left the Cape Town International Airport and they are heading towards Delft. What she did tell me was that he will then have a briefing at the Delft police station from police officers, and after that briefing he will then head straight to the home of the slain police officer. Now, we know that in the wee hours of the morning yesterday, 3 police officers were shot at, 2 were injured and 1 was shot dead. They were on patrol. They were patrolling the streets here in Delft, trying to keep people safe. And during that patrol, they were fired on. And I'm also told that 1 person has been arrested.
And of course, we can't have this conversation, Aisha, without referencing the army deployment in parts of Cape Town. Has that actually borne any fruit?
Well, if one looks at what has transpired at the beginning of this month, at the beginning of the month up until today, just about 100 people have been murdered on the Cape Flats. We started off with 55, and last weekend 43 people on that weekend alone were murdered. And this weekend, with the extra police and army being deployed on the Cape Flats, 25 people were murdered. Now, this is shocking, despite the fact that they've increased patrols, they've put more policemen, they've deployed the army, and still 25 people were killed.
And Aisha, just ahead of the deployment of the military, I remember when the announcement was made by the police minister, some of the people on the Cape Flats were quite excited, quite optimistic that this would bring down the levels of crime. Does much of that optimism remain today?
Well, people initially welcomed the army, and what's happening is that unfortunately the army is going from area to area. They're not staying there all the time. And what's happening is that these murders are happening once the army has left the area. Of course, people understand that the army cannot be protecting them day and night 24/7. But they do, what they're saying is they want the government to come and talk to them, to the community, about a plan. They're saying that they've been kept in the dark, they've not been consulted, and they are not part of the plans to deploy the police and the army. And people that I spoke to say to me, as the community, they do have a plan. They do know, who the perpetrators are, and they want the police and government to come and talk to them and make them part of the plans to get rid of gangsterism and drugs on the Cape Flats.
Aisha Ismail in Delft for us. For now, thank you. We'll take you live back to Aisha as soon as the police minister, Bheki Cele, arrives to meet and see the family of that slain officer killed in an ambush in Delft at the weekend.